Hi, this is Mark of the Cyberbeast. We are at day 2 of the mirror polish. Now, first thing we did, obviously we had to take off the fenders, and it's not for the faint of heart. Brand new truck, you're disassembling it, but watched a couple of videos. I'm pretty good with putting stuff together and taking stuff apart, so I did it, and we polished and put it back on. Actually, no extra pieces so far, so we're good. Now, you'll see the blue tape that we have up here. That's to protect areas that you don't want to get damaged with the polishing. Jeff from Oliver's Metal Polishing, he went across each section multiple times with different wheels and different types of compounds. Okay, we'll talk to him more about that and the specifics of that. But the key thing about this, besides the knowledge, is the patience. And that's something me, a type A personality, especially a type A personality from New Jersey, does not have. He's going back and forth, as you'll see through the video, you know, so slow and over the same area, back and forth. Then when he does that area, he goes back over it again and again, and then he goes to the next wheel and then the next wheel, because there's a 3 or 4 step process to really getting this to shine. You have to kind of cut the metal and cut into it, almost like you're sanding it. One thing too about it you'll need to know is heat. When you go across there with a polisher, it actually heats up the metal, and aside from the pressure, the heat, you'll hear it pop and the metal bend in because it's heating up and it's more pliable. So it's kind of interesting. I was actually inside the truck when he was doing it, and you could hear the pops of the metal from just the heat dissipating like that. But this side, for the most part, is done. He's probably going to touch over just a little bit, but this is as crisp and clean of a mirror polish as you can get. Even though this is Jeff's first Cybertruck, you would think he's a pro, because I'll tell you, this thing looks great. Again, he's going to go over it one more time in certain areas. He wants to kind of look at it a little differently. When you're in the sun, it's very different. Also on film, whether it's still or video like you see here, it's going to come across very different than in person. So if you ever get the chance, if you're thinking about doing this, consider seeing it in person. But you're going to see it just looks like the pictures. Some of the things you may see a little differently with in person than in pictures, but it is as mirror-like, I cannot stress that enough, as possible. It looks like the pictures. I never saw one in person, because where I'm at, there's only a handful of Cybertrucks. One's wrapped, the rest of them aren't. But I just fell in love with this whole look. So that's why I decided to do it, and that's why we're filming it. We've got the GoPro doing the time lapse so that we can show you guys everything about it. I will say some things about disassembling and reassembling your fenders. So this is the outer shell piece. There's these plastic pop rivet things underneath. There's about 7 or so underneath here. Those pop out. This just pops out. There's those plastic pop rivets that hold it in place. And then the next layer is what those pop into. And that's held in by 10mm bolts, okay? Just so you know, because no one else is going to tell you this. All the bolts are the same size except for 3. Over here by the charge port, there's 2 up top here and 1 down below that are longer. Everything else is the same one. So you can put all your bolts together in one area. The 3 that are longer are the 3 right here by the charger. So just note that if you're disassembling. Once you take those 10mm bolts off of the fender flares, the supports that go behind here, really it just pops out. Now there's 2 things you'll have to note, and that's on the front side, okay? Now on the front, we'll spin around this way, you've got 2 things. You've got a wiring harness here in the middle, and you've got your camera. Now on your camera, you do not want to unplug the camera at all, because you'll probably have to go back to service, get it readjusted. There are 2 screws. It is a Torx bit. It is a T9 bit. Those 2 screws pop out really easily. Putting them back in, be careful. You're probably going to drop them, so make sure you have a flat, clear surface, because it's real hard getting that little small screw back into that camera housing. And then also you've got your, right in the middle here, a harness that you're just going to have to go ahead and pull out the plastic white piece, and then pull out the harness. Once you do that, that backing that's behind here comes right off. You have full access to the metal. This way you don't have to scuff up your plastic. It looks clean, just like you see here. That's really it. The back side, the only thing that's a little bit different is obviously the charging port on this side. So you've got the one piece here, the one piece here, then you've got your charger, okay? But again, 10mm bolts, they pop right off pretty darn easy. The mud flaps on the rear, they stayed in place. Didn't have to take those off. I did have to take the mud flaps on the front wheels off because they were definitely in the way when I took off the housing. So if you do have the aftermarket mud flaps, which if you don't, this and the running boards, we've got links for them on our pages. These are just like the bomb. I'll make sure you get these mud flaps. They look like they should be part of the Cybertruck right out of the factory. They look that factory look. They look really good. So Jeff went ahead and started doing the front here, as you can see. He did this front portion, but this top portion, he wants to do this next day or two. He wants to get some scaffolding to get a better angle on this. He runs these wheels about 3,500 RPM, and this is a pretty heavy piece of equipment going that fast. He wants to make sure there's a good grip on it and so forth. So this is going to be done probably tomorrow or the next day. But as you see right here, the front grille looking good. Hopefully no bugs are attracted to this. But anyway, our bumper here as well. And we're filming the other side as just making progress, doing the first round of cuts. And again, this is a 3 or 4 step process. You can't just whack at it in a day. This truck's gonna take all of about 4 or 5 days, okay? Believe it or not, the disassembly and reassembly of the fenders didn't really take that long. It's what takes so long, it's the art and science of going back and forth, understanding how the compound is working with the metal, because this is stainless steel, which react differently than aluminum. But again, it's a very durable surface, it's a very forgiving surface, okay? So really, your metal polisher, even if they've never done a Cybertruck, if they're a good established metal polisher, like Jeff over here, then it's going to turn out really good. But you know, really, it's stainless steel. Just because it's a Cybertruck, Anyway, that's it for today on this day 2 sneak peek for our Cybertruck edition of Mirror Polish. So we'll see you guys tomorrow.